Meghan Markle gave an in-depth interview to Emily Chang where she talked about her entrepreneurial plans and life outside the royal family. One key detail, she's there sitting down with burgers and glasses of beer, trying to look more relatable to the public. It sounds like a smart PR move until you actually notice how staged it all is. This is a set-up little scenes of simplicity, soft questions on pre-approved topics. And that's exactly where the whole picture starts to fall apart. Hello everyone, my name is Sandra and you're watching my channel. Welcome. And so that's all my work doesn't go to waste. Please subscribe, give this video a like and give this video a thumbs up and let's dive in. So, as I said, Meghan Markle gave an interview, and in this interview, she decided not to show up as the Duchess of Sussex, but as this girl next door. But let's take it step by step. I think by now you already know about my fascinating with Meghan. I already have several videos about her on this channel, and now let's see why. Once again, Meghan failed to come across as one of us. Why she couldn't win the public over and why in just 2 days she got hit with a huge wave of criticism.
This is Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, one of the most talked about women in the world. You know, or you may think you know, Meghan Markle the royal, the tabloid subject, the actress. Then there's what the media has told you about Meghan the divider, who traded the trappings of life in the monarchy for the comfy coast of California.
We immediately see the burger, the beer, Meghan in a white shirt, but why does this actually work against her? They are all symbols of, simplicity. Allegedly, they are meant to disarm all the haters. I'm a public figure, but I eat fast food too. I laugh, I get messy. There's nothing royal about me. Okay, sure, what else? You have lots of questions. I have lots of questions to you. But here we can see a problem with context and consistency. For years, Meghan Markle leaned into her title luxury brands, insisting on being addressed in a certain way. And suddenly, out of nowhere, she flips the script. Now she's just like you, the average girl next door. On screen, we see her wearing crisp white clothes that can easily get stained. Random little moments caught by the camera, all mean to highlight her natural side. On top of that, there's editing. You can sense the cutaways, the inserted shots, the costume changes, all aimed at creating the illusion on one casual day. But here is a bug in the system. The more effort you put on staging authenticity, the more theatrical and fake it feels. And that's the core flaw of this whole interview. We hear completely simple questions, but asked with this forced, heavy-handed depth. And honestly, it's strange to hear these kinds of questions coming from an interviewer. The most interesting part, though, is Meghan's reaction. She answers as she has been asked a question straight out of poses, heavy looks, and big abstract words about humanity, safety, connection, all of it just piles on the artificiality. We all know that Meghan started out as an actress and she just can't stop using her acting skills, whether it's in the interview or her everyday life. And that's exactly what so many haters speak up on. Instead of calmly answering a simple question or maybe building a genuinely engaging conversation, she layers on the theatrics every single time. Take a look at these clips. She's asked the most basic question: how often do you drink? And right away Meghan slips into performance mode.
giant pickle.
Look at my jalapenos, see?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Well, you asked earlier about, you feel the pressure to be real. We're human, we eat.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be elegant and beautiful, but it's going to be delicious.
We lick our fingers.
Yes.
Okay.
What else? You have lots of burning
I have
questions.
lots of burning questions.
And here's the problem: artificial death, lots of layers. The meaning never really arrives. It just imitated mostly through tone of voice, and that's why for the audience this whole act feels awkward, even uncomfortable. Then, of course, she wanders into politics just a little bit, but still Meghan muses about how times are different now. Having a voice matters, humanity matters. It sounds kind of solid, maybe even meaningful, but there is zero substance. She's asked if she wants to comment on Trump, since she criticized him back in 2016, but now she says, I choose what matters to me. That was a different time. So basically, she didn't answer the question at all. She just slipped in another self-statement. A clever thing, Dutch. And at one point, it even caught myself thinking how great it would be if Meghan Markle sat down with one of those American interviews who would shake out every last detail with hard-hitting questions. Instead, we keep getting these stage, polished interviews where Meghan talks about how pure she is, how innocent she is, and how his whole world is against her. It's just another attempt to paint herself in white. This technique she uses blurred her position so she doesn't lose any segment of her potential or actual audience. Might seem clever, but here's one problem. When it's repeated for years, the audience stops believing in any of the values she claims. And this ambiguity, that's a position in itself. It reads as fear of being uncountable for her own words. Meghan is eating that burger, drinking that beer, but honestly, it looks like she is doing it without any respect for the act itself. It doesn't see her enjoying it. She is still in control, tense, and visibly uncomfortable throughout this interview. Yes, people eat. Yes, you can show that. But in a public setting, there is a matter of balance. And here, the whole scene zooms on the food details, trying to signal, see, we're just like you, grab a beer, sit with us, watch along. But instead it comes across as nothing more than a forced attempt to look normal. In royal circus, by the way, there's an unspoken rule: don't eat on camera. Not because royals aren't human, but because food instantly strips away on screen and turns a serious conversation in a kitchen chatter. And here we can see something similar. It's like Meghan takes that entire set of rules she once had experienced to her and deliberately ignores them, presenting herself as someone to whom their nuances don't matter, someone above or outside them. Many people compare Meghan to Kate Middleton yet again, and here's the question: why can't the exact same gesture be perceived so differently? For example, when Kate tries local food in an event the audience sees is a work-related protocol moment. Polite, appropriate, no big spotlight. A quick nuance, nothing more. But with Meghan, food becomes the plot, the very meaning of the scene, and there is a difference in the presentation. What comes across as a fleeting detail for Kate turns into a full-blown "I'm normal" performance for Meghan. And the moment it becomes a performance, it turns artificial. The key question for Meghan is this: why does she justify continuing to benefit from her royal title while refusing to follow the very rules that come with it? This isn't about hate, it's about the contradiction that's right in front of us, and the audiences have every right to ask, why are you doing this? She criticizes the rule of the royal family, laughs at them, talks about freedom from the court, but at the same time clings to her title. Because without it, there wouldn't be the level of attention, influence, or monetization of all her brands. The title is her social boost. And as a result, every time she says, I'm just being myself, the audience automatically flips on the skepticism filter. Yourself as who? The duchess, the actress, the activist, the wife, the friend, the mother, etc., etc., etc. This is why her constant effort to preserve the surname, the title, the correction, somehow misnames her feels so telling. It looks like a marketing trick. The title is used as a brand even while she distances herself from the royal institution. The very institution that gave her the title. And for the public, that's another contradiction. Either you leave the game or you play by the rules. And this is really a matter of self-respect. The Duchess title is the core of her self-presentation, the backbone of the entire media structure around Meghan. If you remove that word, the attention level drops drastically. And everyone knows it. The viewers and Meghan herself, and yet in every interview she tells the same stories. Nothing new happens. The same conflict remains. Yes, she's trying to launch one business after another now, but the effect is fading. It just doesn't resonate the way it used to. Even her victim positioning worked at first. There were people who supported her. But when it dragged on for so long, so artificially, people stopped seeing her as a victim too. Meanwhile, Meghan insists she rarely uses her voice. Sure, it sounds pretty eloquent even. It's a mantra she is repeating for years, but the reality looks very different. But when we can all see what's happening, who exactly is Meghan trying to fool here? We see the constant interviews, constant podcasts, books, blogs, documentaries, Netflix shows, an endless stream of content. People don't even remember a pause even existing. It's been non-stop exposure, so any line about her rarely speaking out comes across as pure self-deception. And that's critical, because when a public figure isn't in sync with how the audience actually preserves them, every new appearance only increases the rejection. When the interviewer asks her what she would do if she were anonymous, if she could go incognito or no one recognizes her, Meghan says, I'd grab a backpack and hitchhike somewhere to travel. I'd go grocery shopping every day. I'd take little road trips here. But those words sound like she is describing someone else's life entirely. Her public persona and what the audience expects from her just don't align with what she is projecting. Because when you say things like that, and in reality you're flying business class, chartering private jets, staying at exclusive resorts surrounded by heavy security, it's not a dream, it's a glaring disconnect. It would be better just to tell the truth. I want to try a simpler format. I'm learning to let go of control. I'm learning to take small steps toward achieving the perfect life I want. But this positioning, claiming she dreams of traveling like an ordinary person, once again feels completely out of place and awkward. Let's break down the structure of the interview and why the softness of the questions actually makes things worse. When the guest is only willing to talk about comfortable topics, the responsibility for everything else falls on the interviewer. And here the logical thing would have been to ask, why did she shut down her previous brand? What happened with her other projects? Was the shortage there artificial or real? What is Meghan's real attitude toward these titles, toward criticism of her industry, and toward the commercial use of her title? There was even a question about criticism, and her response? Well, yes, these people will criticize me now, and then they will go home, drink beer, and eat spaghetti cooked in one pan. What was that even supposed to mean? The question was, how do you handle criticism? But instead of talking about her own reaction, she shifts the focus onto the people criticizing her. She doesn't address herself, she talks about them. And that's the problem. What's behind this? Why does her fakeness, her theatricality, come across so clearly? Why does she get hit with another wave of criticism every single time? The way she looks at the interview, the way she carries herself, the way she answers questions, you can see it. She gets carried away, and she doesn't even realize it. Her intonation jumps all over the place. I'd even say it doesn't sound like her natural voice at all. And beneath it, there is this consistent need for recognition, this fear of losing visibility. And that's why she clings so tightly to her title, because it still amplifies the attention around her. And clearly, Meghan is overcompensating here. This whole I'm simple but in an expensive frame act trying to reach people's empathy through everyday scenes. But when it comes to actually taking responsibility for what she says, her answers are vague. The desire to be liked by everyone at once only makes it worse. And the problem is, in 2025, this kind of thing is completely transparent to any audience. People have long since learned to spot when words and behavior doesn't match, and when there is a massive gap between them. Let's think about what Meghan could have done differently. Imagine if we were close friends and could give her some advice. The first thing I'd point out is the rule of one scene, one meaning. If you're eating a burger and drinking a beer, then maybe do it in different clothes, not in crisp, wipe, staged, theatrical outfits. Something more natural, authentic, without perfectly arranged lighting, without the long pauses and attempts at deep, serious conversation. I can picture plenty of actors who would fit naturally into that kind of scene, who would eat joyfully, laugh, and drink their beer with ease. Jennifer Lawrence comes to mind right now, or maybe Penelope Cruz, or Salma Hayek too. Honestly, I could imagine almost anyone else making it look fun and real, but instead, Meghan sits there like she is still in suits, answering questions in that awkward theatrical way. A casual street-style look wouldn't have worked so much better. Maybe even some background street noise, maybe even real people in the frame. It would have added authenticity. And then there is a constant use of her title. If we really want to see her real Meghan, the job, the duchess, the Sussex, just a couple of months without those titles, and the audience might finally see the person instead of the brand. And how about an honest breakdown of her past projects? Why she closed them, why she rebooted some, what the actual demand was. That would be an adult move, and admitting a mistake of something went wrong. Instead of 10 vague statements, give us one concrete step, one specific point. Even something like spending a week without heavy security, that would be interesting to see. Because honestly, I don't think the world is constantly out to get Meghan the way she painted it. I've seen plenty of reports claiming that Meghan is hiding from supposed paparazzi. To me, it feels more like paranoia, because in the area where she lives, I doubt there are crowds of people ready to jump out at her I don't see the real need for such a massive security entourage. What I would add here are though interesting, genuinely deep questions, because Meghan Markle positions herself as a smart woman who wants to make a difference. And it would actually be fascinating if she were asked the kinds of questions that usually can be asked. Questions about the rules of the royal institution, about the benefits she still gets from her title, and if she gave an honest answer, it would raise respect for her, not lower it. It would also be great to hear a candid take on her relationships with Harry, how they deal with conflict, how they resolve them. That would be real substance. Until the gap between her image and her actions closes, her every new relatable moment will only irritate people. And not because the audience is cruel, but because they can clearly see when someone is trying to deceive them. Write in the comments what you would do to improve Meghan's image. What action would you take, or maybe you just forget about all this publicity and enjoy a comfortable life instead? Share your thoughts. I'd really like to hear that you would do if you were in Meghan Markle's shoes. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time. Bye bye!